Who is the lover?
Allah.
Who is Ar-Rahman?
Allah.
Who is Al-Mannan?
La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. Muhammad is the messenger, to Allah is our return. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. Muhammad is the messenger, to Allah is our return. La ilaha illallah,
Muhammadur Rasulullah.
La ilaha illallah,
Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Viewers, welcome once again to your special edition of Eidul-Adha 2022. Today being the 10th of the month of Dhul-Hijjah, the last month of the Islamic calendar. We are in the studio to elaborate more on what transpired at the Black Star Square and most of the Eid grounds across the country and across the globe. Yesterday was the day of Arafah, and to Muslims who were able to make it to Hajj observe a day of fasting to be able to also have the benefits of the reward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving to all believers across the globe. And we believe that inshallah today too, with regards to the essence of the day, we want to look at what was delivered by His Eminence, the National Chief Imam, and then also the President, who also joined us at the Eid ground. Fortunately for me, I have in the studios people who can really deal with the topic. And today we have a whole program for you. It is going to be a series. My name is Abdul Fattah Bawa Yusuf, and today, fortunately for us in the studio, we have Al-Hajj B.M. Adams, who is an Islamic computerized. Today, what should I add?
Muslim youth economic empowerment activist.
MashaAllah. And also we have our Sheikh Imam Kashfi, who is an Islamic cleric, to also help us to elaborate more on some of the topics, some of the issues that was raised in most of the speeches that was read or delivered at the Black Star Square. Sheikh, you are welcome.
Thank you.
It's been a while. MashaAllah. Now let me come to you, Hajj Adams.
Yeah.
Maybe basically, what can you tell us with regards to the day? You know, this is the first Eid-al-Adha we are observing at the Black Star Square after COVID.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you very much. You know, Eid-al-Adha is being observed globally by the 2 billion Muslims across the globe, from New Zealand to Iceland, from Auckland to Siberia, all over the world. Muslims are observing it, and it's purely in commemoration of our model Abraham, or in Islam we call it Ibrahim, who is the very first or one of the most outstanding prophets that Muslims are required to emulate, because almost all our prophets came from his line or his progeny, and therefore he showed or dedicated an example that every believer in God, true believer in God, will have to emulate, and that example is a preparedness to sacrifice. So if you look at the injunction in Quran chapter, or the lesson in Quran chapter 37 verse 102, where the whole episode started, that he had a revelation to sacrifice his son, the son that God gave him at a very old age through Hagar, that is Ishmael. That son was supposed to sacrifice. And if you look at the verse very well, there was a dialogue, there was a discussion, you see, between the father and the son, that this is the instruction he has received from Allah to have him sacrificed. Look, if you look at the response of the son, it is so resounding, in fact, and a big lesson for all families and for all youth to emulate, that the son, through that discussion, through that dialogue or proposal, is that so long as it is Allah who has instructed you to sacrifice me, your son, and being the only son, I've accepted. I will willingly lay down my life for that sacrifice, so that together we'll be doing obedience to God. If you look at that story, in other narrations, you realize that the son wasn't aware that this was going to take place. But this one, the son was made aware, he had agreed, there was consultation. And that gave a very big lesson. First of all, consultation between father and son. Secondly, obedience to constitutional authority. That's the father. And when they got to the site, the father nor the son didn't even know that there was going to be a ram that to be replaced. No, none of them knew. That is true obedience. You see, so it's teaching us about total obedience to God, sincerity, faithfulness, as opposed to selfishness, you see, camouflage faith, which is prevalent now. Have you seen it? I'm a man of God, but within me something different. Have you seen it? Camouflage faith, then greed and envy. You see, this is opposite to the Abrahamic faith. You know, the Abrahamic faith controls or covers 50 or more percent of the world today. When you talk Abrahamic faith, we are talking about Islam, which is almost about 2 billion across the globe. Christianity, which is about 2.2 billion across the world. Judaism, which is about 14.8 million. If you put them together, you are getting about 5 billion. Most, believers in Abrahamic faith. And the other 50% is shared by the other un-Abrahamic faiths. You see, so it means that the world would have been at peace, total peace. Nobody will go to bed hungry. Nobody will defy about anything. Nobody will be punished unjustly, if only we have followed the footsteps of Abraham.
Thanks so much. Shaykh,
No.
you know what Hajj Adams was explaining, looking at the verse he quoted, specifically where Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam answered, if Almatu Umar, satajridi insha'Allah min as-salihin. How was Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam being able, as a child, to appreciate what the father is discussing with him?
Alhamdulillah.
He says, I agree. Do what you have been instructed.
Yes. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala al-mabuthi rahmatan lil alamin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi al-akhyar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, as rightly mentioned by Sheikh, I think it all boils down to the kind of discipline or the training that was given to Ismail by his father. Abraham, as mentioned by the Almighty Allah in the Holy Quran, Inna Ibrahima kana ummah. Inna Ibrahima kana ummah. Abraham is worth emulating. Abraham is the kind of person that, when you look at what Allah has done for Abraham, in terms of trials and all, you see that he deserves the kind of position given to him by the Almighty Allah.
That's right.
Upon all that he went through, the Almighty Allah finally gave him a son. And this son, God is not done with the trials yet.
Yes.
Then the Almighty Allah commanded him. And this commandment came in a form of vision, dream vision. Yet he accepted it. Because you and I, we were thinking that Mafalkini is a mere dream. It's a mere dream. It's Satan that is whispering in my ear. But Abraham didn't take it as such. So he went ahead to execute the commandment of the Almighty Allah. But at the end of the day, what happened? I come back to what Sheikh said, that all other prophets happen to be descendants of Abraham.
Right.
Why? Because of the obedience that he had to the Almighty Allah. So for Almighty Allah to reward him, God ensured that any prophet that will come after Abraham is from his lineage. And that's what actually happened. So it goes back to your question. It's because of the training that the dad gave him. That's why when he told him that this is the vision I'm having about slaughtering you, he said, yeah, but if Alma to Umar. Look at what the son said. He said, if Alma to Umar, what you've been, execute what you've been commanded to do. So he knows it's a commandment. And that commandment is not coming from his grandfather. It's not coming from his grandfather. It's not coming from his grandmother. So that you say it is the parents of the father. Neither is it coming from the father himself. But he knows that it's coming from the Almighty Allah. So this is a lesson to you and I our children, let us instill the love of the Almighty Allah and pure faith in them first before anything follows. If Ishmael lacked all this faith and knowledge about the Almighty Allah, he will have challenged the father. Look at our children today. You ask somebody to go into the hot sun to buy pure water.
Yeah, that's it.
Then you squeeze the face.
Yeah.
Right in front of you.
Right in front of you. And some, subhanAllah, wa iyadhu billah, he will directly tell you, Banzua, I will not go. I won't go.
That's it.
And you can't kill him. You can't do anything. But this is about slaughtering.
Yes.
That is why. And all this started with a good prayer.
And they didn't know something is coming out of that.
No. So they knew it was going to happen for real.
Yeah.
So this is not an issue of 50-50. It's not a lotto something.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not a lottery something. It's not like, let's go, maybe something will come in the form of a ransom to replace you or something. No, there was no idea of that.
That's it.
No idea of that. So he knew he was going to slaughter the son.
Yes.
And the Almighty Allah being so good, a miracle happened.
That's it.
A complete miracle happened.
That's it.
And look at all those years. This is over 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Then today we are still observing that thing that happened.
Yeah.
So this is it tells you that Abraham has left behind a very good name, a very good legacy. That's what the Almighty Allah says. You know, as Muslims, it is Abraham who has given us the name Muslims. وَسَمَّاكُمُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. So if you are here today observing something in his memory or then it's a good thing. And finally, before I finish my point, Abraham started all these things by what? Prayer. Rabbi habli minas salihin. He started praying even before he had a child. He was praying to the Almighty Allah to give him an obedient child. So you don't need to wait till you are married before you start praying for a good day. You don't have to wait till you start giving birth. Your wife is pregnant before you start. No. You start praying from now till you get a wife to marry. You continue with the prayers until you get the son. Then the Almighty Allah will give you a son like Ismail. Otherwise,
and look at how Islamically it has been crafted.
Yes.
رَبِّ هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا
قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. So Islam or the Almighty Allah is telling us that start praying for an obedient child, for a blessed child. Otherwise, what are we seeing now? I think you and I know, so we don't need to go deep into it.
So was it the reason why today in the morning you see the chief imam, may Allah give him more health? The introductory remark or statement of his sermon was this thing that you are going to do, fear God repeatedly.
That's right.
Is it because of the explanation Sheikh is giving? That's what I'm asking. Whether is that the reason why he was saying you're not just doing it? We're an economic hardship. How much is a ram? How much is a cow? How much is a camel? But yes, people are doing it.
Yes. You see, so all boils down to sacrifice. Sacrifice for the family, sacrifice for your community, sacrifice for the state. You see, if you don't have that sacrificial belief in you, and you are just being egoistic, all good is centered on yourself. Only me, and nothing else. That will give birth to nepotism. It will give birth to bribery and corruption. It will give birth to selfishness. It will give birth to greed. Is that the point? And it will give birth to hatred. You see, and this four causes or has caused world wars: greed, selfishness, egotism. You see, and self-centeredness. If not, there wouldn't be war. Nobody will go to bed hungry. If there's no greed, if there's no nepotism. And nepotism here, let me make it very clear. What is actually harming this country is protocol list. You see, I'm coming to youth unemployment. That is why the youth are angry. That is why the youth have become disobedient. That is why they cannot be like Ishmael. You see, because you see the truth, and you know the truth, and a 70-year person is sitting on the truth. Because you all apply for a job with the same degrees, with the same university, before you roll after the interview, a list comes from above and say this protocol list. We must say it because it's a worrying thing. In fact, until now, this kind of word, say, protocol list, has not been common in the country. It is not. It's not getting worse. Imagine you are in the sun for 12 hours for recruitment. About 10,000 and thousands of you. At the end of the day, you have gone through every physical, every academic, every qualification you have it. Then at the end, your name is not appearing on the protocol list. Why should other Ghanaians not have their name on the protocol list? What is the sacrifice? What is the truth? What is the dedication? What is the Abrahamic nature? If 95% of us in Ghana are supposed to be in the Abrahamic faith, why should it be happening? You see, so when we relate these occasions, this Abraham, what he did, we should also relate it to today. Today, what is happening? We have over 100,000 youth who are unemployed. You see, we are not creating the jobs. When the jobs are created and people are being taken, me from Bumburugu, who doesn't know anybody in Accra, you see, we'll be sure at the gate of the interview that you are not among, because at the end of the day, there will be a protocol list. What should it be happening? So, what is the nature of Abraham? What is the emulation? What is the selflessness? What is the sacrifice? So, you realize that the sacrifice that we are talking of, look, from the very top to the very down, no one is ready to sacrifice. Because as soon as those who are down realize that those are not sacrificing, people at the bottom or in between are trying to cut corners.
Exactly.
You see my point? So we are just appealing to this country, anybody in decision making. Look, even our own Muslims are not exempted. You see my point now? What is meant for you should go to you. What is meant for B, who is not even near, should go to him. That is why we can say that we are actually in the Abrahamic faith. It is not happening. You see, this egotism, being egoistic, that is self-centered, it's only me and my people. They are the only people who deserve to benefit from any good. You see, so how we allow that? Are we copying Abraham? No, we have all failed. You see.
Thanks so much. Sheikh, let me come back to you again. One very important thing that was raised at the Eid grounds with regards to the sermon was about inheritance. Very good inheritance, because the marriage, maybe our other colleagues will come in and deal with that. Inheritance. I don't know how important or what is really the issue with regards to inheritance that it has been captured in the sermon.
Subhanallah. Inheritance, as you know, the Almighty Allah has not left the issue of inheritance in the hands of any prophet or an angel or any sheikh or any malam. The Almighty Allah himself shared inheritance among family and relatives. The Almighty Allah in the Holy Quran has stated categorically which percentage should go to who, what percentage should go to who, what percentage should be given to who. So no prophet has a hand in it, no angel has a hand in it, no sheikh or alim has a hand in it. So whether you like it or not, it goes back to what Hajj was saying, being egoistic. So if the Quran, the Almighty Allah says, if a person is deceased after the demise of the person, his relatives A, B, C, D deserves this percentage or that percentage, they should be able to accept that this is what the Almighty Allah has given us. And it's surprising.
Not your father, what Almighty Allah has.
Not the Almighty Allah has given you, not your father. Not the mother who is coming to share it.
Because your father didn't divide.
At all. Otherwise, if the Almighty Allah will leave it into the hands of our fathers, they will have favorites among the children. That is why after the Almighty Allah has talked so much about inheritance, in the Holy Quran, Surah An-Nisa, then the Almighty Allah says, وَلَا تَتَمَنَّوْا مَا فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بِهِ بَعْضَكُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. That do not wish for yourself what Allah has given to the other person. So let's take it, for example, in the Holy Quran, Surah An-Nisa, the Almighty Allah says that if a man dies and he has children, then the wife is entitled to 1/8 of his property. If a man dies, if a man passes away, and he has children, the wife is entitled to 1/8 of his property. If a man dies and he has no child, then the wife is entitled to 1/4 of his property. So if the person leaves behind 20,000 Ghana cedis, the wife alone is entitled to what? 5,000 cedis. That is 1/4.
Yes.
If he doesn't have a child. The other way around, if a woman passes away and she has children, the husband is entitled to 1/4 of her property. But if a woman passes away, and if the woman passes away and has no child, she has not left behind a child, then the husband is entitled to half of the property. In this situation, where I have a sister, and Hajj is the husband, this is where the problem comes in. I have a sister, and this is Hajj, her husband. My sister passes away. She has no child behind. Now, she leaves, let's say, 1 billion. Is it huge? I want a very huge amount. So 1 billion, that's 100,000. But I mentioned the old 1 billion.
Okay.
That's why it's yes, that's 100,000 Ghana cedis. So maybe when my sister was with Alaji, she's been telling me, Alaji be doing another kill. He doesn't treat her well. Maybe, I'm just giving an example. So now she passes away. Once he has not divorced her, they have not separated, and she passes away in his room, then he is entitled to 500 million, half of it. Then me sitting somewhere, I'll say, Kai, but you're that I'm not going to accept this one. You see, this is where the issue comes in. The Almighty Allah has given him that amount. So, who is me? Who are you to stop him from getting what the Almighty Allah has given him? You understand? Elsewhere, if the woman doesn't have a child, like I was saying, she deserves 1/4 of the property. Then the family of the man, this is the other way around. I'm just touching. Otherwise, there are so many scenarios. The family of the man will say that she doesn't have a child. This one was just a burden. A woman, any woman who comes into marriage and doesn't give a child, what blessing has she brought to the family? What addition has she brought to the family? So they will end up packing her. And I think, I don't want to mention, Hajj was telling us that in some villages elsewhere, how many days? You said she lived how many days?
After the 3 days. Is that the preparation?
Yes, after the 3 days, you are asked to leave the place, to vacate the premises of the property of the woman.
Terrible, very terrible.
And the brothers of the husband, the least husband, will come and occupy the place. Don't you fear the Almighty Allah? Where's her portion? The Almighty Allah has given her a portion. Where's the portion? So inheritance is not about giving birth.
Yes.
It's about marriage. Once there's marriage between the two of them, she deserves a portion. And earlier on you were asking, where's the takaba? The Almighty Allah said in the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, that وَالَّذِينَ يَتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ أَرْبَعَةَ أَشْهُرٍ وَعَشْرًا. The Almighty Allah says, you women, who your husband passed away and leave you behind. The Almighty Allah was talking to men in this ayah. وَالَّذِينَ يَتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ أَيْهُ الرِّجَالِ. That you men that pass away and leave behind wives, your wives, the wives shouldn't go away just like that. And this is a commandment from the Almighty Allah, that they should stay in the room of the husband, the late husband, for 4 months, 10 days. Look, some scholars are of the view that even if she's in that room, during the state of Takaba, and she gets the opportunity to go to Hajj, she cannot leave the Takaba and go to Hajj.
You see?
Hajj is one of the pillars of Islam. This question came in for scholars to handle, to answer, that a woman is in Takaba, she's supposed to be 4 months, 10 days. After a month and a week, opportunity sets in, that somebody wants to sponsor you, send you to Hajj. Hajj is one of the pillars of Islam. So should she leave the Takaba and go to Hajj, or stay and continue with the Takaba? If you see the way the ulama have dealt with this issue, but in the nutshell, you have to stay and do the Takaba.
Due to the importance.
Due to the importance. So you, this family, you have made my words easy for me. Due to the importance. So what I'm trying to pinpoint clearly is that if the importance of this has gotten to the level that even Hajj, you cannot quit this Takaba and go to Hajj, then you, the one sacking her from the room and preventing her from observing this Takaba, what will you tell the Almighty Allah tomorrow? You're seeing some of the people forget that one day they will also meet their Creator.
So Hajj, what can you also tell us? Earlier you were talking about how you can use technology to make some of these things easy.
That is it. In the Chief Imam's speech, in fact, it is so rich so resounding and very refreshing.
MashaAllah.
It touched on three main topics, which my brother has indicated already: the marriage, the inheritance, and then the Eid program. In fact, if you look at the inheritance, let's take that one first.
No.
Look, the Quranic verse that actually talks about the inheritance, in Surah An-Nisa and the rest.
Exactly.
Look, it's so mathematical, so rich,
That's
so scientific.
That's true.
And that alone is enough to convince the world to be Muslim.
Allahu Akbar.
Because if you look at those of us with mathematics background, if you look at the computation, look, after you do the sharing, everything comes to 100%. Look, according to the situation, if there are sons, there are daughters, the old lady is alive, the mother is alive, then the children's uncles and aunties are around. Now, just take the computer. How many sons? 5. How many daughters? Maybe 10. How many wives? It can be 1, 2, 3, or 4. So let's say 1, which is ideal for the economic situation in Ghana today. Now, you come to, is the old lady alive? 1. Is the old man around? 1. Is the uncles and sisters around? Put all their numbers. They can be 10, they can be 20. If you just command the computer to calculate, you just tap a button. Within 1 second, it will give you all the results. If you compare the results, that comes to the percentages, you realize that the percentage that goes to the old lady, of the man who is deceased, you realize that that amount would have been sufficient provision that the son who is deceased would have provided the old lady until her death. And that amount, you see, because the weight of loss will be equivalent to the weight of gain from the property that's left behind. Sufficient enough to care for that old lady until the end. Now, when the man dies and leaves a wife who has not even given birth, as you said correctly, the woman is entitled.
Yes.
Now, the sons and the daughters is 2:1. You see, but people begin to think that are the men or the sons not cheating the daughters?
Exactly.
Let me give you the mathematics here. The 2:1. Say you are 2 brothers. I mean, a sister, you and a sister. Now, let's say you are the only people existing after your father's death. You receive twice what your sister receives. All things being equal. You, the man who received the 2:1, the 2/3 and the sister 1/3. The 2/3 from you, the son. All things being equal. If you happen to go and marry another girl in another family who might have also gotten the 1/3. The 1/3 from your wife, the lady, you are going to marry outside your family, to your 2/3. What do you get now? 1/3 outside coming to add to the 2/3 they have taken. What is it? That's 1.
Yes.
100%. Your sister, who had 1/3, going to marry a man somewhere who might have received
Back to 100%.
2/3. What is your share now? Meanwhile, look at this. When your father dies and leaves you and your sister, your 2/3 is the amount of money that you have to take to care for yourself and your children, your wife, and still care for your sister.
You have to provide for her.
Provide for her. It's a duty on you.
Yes.
At the end of the day, your sister keeps her 1/3.
Exactly. Alone.
And the burden for herself.
Yes.
She doesn't need to touch it.
Yes.
No, that is hers.
But you also,
she can decide.
Yes.
You say, oh brother, take something.
Yes.
Mine is still there.
But for you,
But in your case, it's a duty.
it's a must.
If you fail, you have a negative against your
Exactly.
name. You see the point now? Who has cheated the other now? Look at Allah. Allah's command
Subhanallah.
is so immense. That's what He has given us wisdom to use it to think
Exactly.
and obey.
Exactly.
Now, if you look at so if this mathematics, 5 sons, 10 daughters, maybe it's 4 wives, then the old lady is around, the old man is around. That's the father of the deceased, and all the plenty sisters and then uncles and aunties. If you give that calculation to somebody who doesn't know the computer system, doesn't know maths, he can easily make an error. And in that computation, to derive the percentage for the primary heirs, we have primary heirs and secondary heirs. The primary heirs are those from the same family tree.
Yes. Yes.
You see, why don't they make provision for the uncles and then the sisters? Don't forget that they also have their father, who is still alive.
Yes.
Don't forget that they are also men who must work.
Exactly.
So you don't have to wait for somebody to die for you to struggle with the children for the property. Now look at Islam. even when the woman is pregnant, at the time of the husband's death, they cannot share until the woman gives birth. Because you don't know whether it's going to be a male or female, twins or not. Now look at the Quran. There's no book on earth, a divine book, a revealed book, that has this computation. So every provision is made for everyone.
Exactly.
So come back to Ghana. One, those who know the computation are not many. They are scholars like you. Your type are not many. So that if you give these figures to compute it, it becomes complex.
Yes.
In some homes, in some of our communities, the person will come and say, "Oh, give me a piece of charcoal. You the sons. This is for you. For the house in East Legon, you are not part of it. But the one in the village, in fact, you look like a villager, so that can be for you."
Excellent.
You see, you look at the value of the...
No. You see, in that one, the percentage computation is one. Then you come to the valuation of property. The valuation. Now, at this situation, we have to find a valuation officer to value the properties. That's number 2.
Yes.
Now, number 3, you find a banker who will convert all the values of the properties into monetary terms. Then you go back to the will template, the will of the man. That's an Islamic will, wasiya.
Yes.
That should have been in place. Where your father would have indicated that when I die, my property should be shared in accordance with the Quran. Look, when that will goes to the court, and the court looks at it, naturally, the court will be looking at the will. And the will says, my property should be shared in accordance with the Quran. So it means the court has no voice. It has to go back to the imams to share according to the Quran. But the sharing now is the issue. You see, because the Quran has got fractions. You see, the sons, twice that of the daughter.
2:4.
You see the one now. The wife, either 1/8 or 1/4, depending on the situation.
Exactly.
The old lady, your mother who is alive,
Yes.
1/6, is that not it?
Precisely.
The father 1/6.
Yes.
And 1/3 in some cases.
Yes.
Where the man died and doesn't leave sons or daughters. You see the one now?
His brothers behind.
You see the Quranic mathematics. It means that the old lady who is now crying, because that's the only son, who has no sons or daughters, must be considered properly.
Yes.
Have you seen it? Yes. So that she can be well resourced to cater for herself until her death.
Exactly.
You see, it is only when there are no sons or no daughters and no wife. That is where the uncles and co come in. But let me tell you, there's opposite in some places in the country today.
Who are Muslims?
Who are Muslims? The uncles and the aunties are more dangerous. They will come in and say, "Oh, it's for our brother."
Not the uncles.
In most cases, the aunties are more dangerous. They will be behind, be pushing. Have you seen it?
Yes.
And be pushing. And here you go. In fact, the woman who is married hasn't got children. There's no son, there's no daughter. Look, that is why Chief Man mentioned about the marriage. The consummation of marriage is so key in Islam. So that even if the man dies and leaves the wife, look, the community will take charge and ensure that the woman who is married and doesn't even have a son, because the controlling measure of having a son or daughter is not in the hands of the woman.
No.
She has a share if there are no sons. So we are saying this because it's a huge problem for most families in Ghana today.
Yes.
In a world today which is solely materialistic. You see,
I think our time is up, so let me come back again. Sheikh, briefly, what can you, in terms of your, I don't know, maybe if you can tell us briefly something out of your sermon as a gift to the Ummah who are watching us.
Alhamdulillah, basically as you said today, Alhamdulillah, we also had the opportunity to lead Eid prayer, and the sermon we gave was in line with the types of animals that are okay for slaughtering. We also mentioned,
because we are in Hashi, people.
Yes.
A cow is less than 2 years, and they say, "Oh, this one is okay."
Exactly. Somebody just.
When I think about the meat,
exactly. Not even the stipulated age. Somebody will just say, "This is a cow. Once it's a cow and it can produce meat, then that's all." But that is not the case. Almighty Allah has shown us exactly what to do. Maybe because of time factor, we wouldn't be able to break it down. But I think we've mentioned it, and a lot of people have taken it. And even after that, the meat. Going back to the egoistic issue that Hajj was raising. You see, the meat, the Almighty Allah says, وَأَطْعِمُ الْقَانِعَ وَالْمُعْتَرِ. So you bought it in this hardship situation, After buying it, you slaughter it. Don't consume the meat alone with your relatives. Look at the 4 ones, the needy. Some of the needy are classified into 2. Al-Qani', those who are in need but will never beg. He or she is in need, but will not stretch their hands to beg because of respect. Al-Mu'tar is the one that is in need but can come forward. They are those that we've been seeing. You come, give me, you come and stretch your hand begging. So what you have to identify, but this person is in need, just that he cannot come forward to ask. So you give. This person, when he comes, don't reject him. You give. To the extent that, very important, even non-Muslims are entitled to some of this meat that we get from the sacrifice. So let's take note of that, and then let's be guided.
Greetings to family, loved ones who are watching.
So my greetings go to my father's people at Wa in the Upper West region, and particularly my mother's people, the Champlemers in the North Gonja district. In fact, but they don't have TV to watch because there's no light there. So the appeal is for us to look at rural electrification. Because if a BECE student doesn't have light in the community and scores aggregate 18, it should be equal to aggregate 7 at the places where there's light. Because they have 24 hours to study, and these people only have some 10 hours to study. You see, so this is an appeal for governments to pay so much attention to rural electrification. In fact,
now my greeting back at the Salah. Definitely have a lot of people, but let me just classify them to 4.
But that one you should do it in Hausa.
You should do it in Hausa.
Yes.
So wannan isa da barka da sallah na zuwa ga iyayenmu da malumanmu da sauran masoyan dangi baki daya. Na farko wayanda ke Accra na muku barka da sallah. Wayanda ke gari mu can kwamilan su muna muku barka da sallah. Wayanda ke can waliwali muna muku barka da sallah. Al'umma Annabi Muhammad gabare duniya ina muku barka da sallah.
Thanks so much. This is a special edition of Eidul-Adha 2022. Inshallah, going for a short break, and then we come back and continue with the rest of the program.